Greetings to you all. I'd like first to take this opportunity to congratulate the Ombudsman of Uzbekistan on the occasion of your 25th anniversary. Organising this conference on the digitalization of the Ombudsman work, innovative mechanisms for promoting and protecting human rights and freedoms, is a fitting way to mark the anniversary and to celebrate Human Rights Day. The fact that we have to meet virtually is a symptom of our times in the context of the global pandemic. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all of those employed in the public services across the globe who have worked tirelessly to serve their communities, both within healthcare but also in keeping other vital services going. I'd especially like to pay tribute to those who have sadly lost their lives in the service of others. And I hope that all of us can look forward to meeting in person again in the not too distant future as the work on delivering vaccines bears fruit. The International Ombudsman Institute is the only global ombudsman organisation with more than 200 members in more than 100 countries worldwide. Our General Secretariat is provided by the Austrian Ombudsman Board and is based in Vienna. Our work includes training, sharing knowledge, supporting Ombudsman offices under threat and promoting best practices, including through our series of best practice papers. We've also sought to drive up standards internationally and participated in the development of the Venice Principles, which have been adopted by the Council of Europe and are also endorsed by a resolution on the Ombudsman due to be adopted by the UN General Assembly later this month. To say that we live in a changing world is a truism. Nothing remains the same for long. The work of the Ombudsman isn't immune to this. The world we work in now is very different to the one in which the first Ombudsman in Sweden operated more than 200 years ago. The principles, though, which underpin our work remain the same. We're independent, we're free to access, we're objective. Our job is to balance the power difference between the administration and the individual. We're an integral part of democratic states. We provide redress for individuals who've suffered injustices or whose human rights were violated, while also using the lessons from our work to improve public services and to stop error from being repeated. The institution of Ombudsman has proved itself to be remarkably adaptable in a changing world. Without losing sight of our fundamental characteristics, it's taken on many roles and responsibilities and learned to operate in a highly changed environment. What I want to do now is consider some of the current challenges and opportunities we face, particularly in the context of the digital society. In the past, Ombudsman offices received complaints generally in writing. People were given a form to fill in or came to the office in person. It often took a long time for the complaint to be investigated and for an outcome to be determined. Nowadays, people transact most of their business online. They shop, they do their banking, they book their travel and accommodation. They communicate, and most importantly, they deal with public services. They've come to expect not just speedy results, but very high levels of interactivity. They also expect to comment on their interactions and to rate them. My generation has digital as a second language. However, many people are digital natives. They've grown up with smartphones and the internet, and they can't conceive of the time before them. They expect to interact with public services as they do with Amazon or Facebook, to communicate as they do on WhatsApp. For many, the last time they physically wrote anything was in an exam. The pen for them is obsolete. Ombudsman offices are also used to dealing with bodies who hold their information on paper files. Now, however, more and more of it is in the cloud. We haven't been used to delivering instant results. We don't expect high levels of interactivity with complainants, and we don't expect our performance to be reviewed online and the subject of social media discussion. Some Ombudsman offices have had the experience of groups of complainants coming together to criticise their performance. It's now much easier to do this online, and the tenor of social media conversations can be very angry or even abusive. People will say online things they would hesitate to say to your face. Most Ombudsman offices are responding to the new circumstances and are making it easier to complain online, with many now giving status updates to complainants. The e-People system in Korea is a long-established example of a joined-up approach to complaint handling. The same complaint system is shared by public bodies and the Ombudsman. This makes for a much speedier transfer of complaints, which are now resolved locally, and provides a rich source of learning from complaint data. Complainants will increasingly want to interact with our offices as they do in other parts of their lives, whether by Facebook, Instagram or WhatsApp, to name the platforms most used in my part of the world. They also expect much quicker responses and will be quick to express their displeasure about any delay, especially where we don't uphold their complaints. This will further reinforce the trend to seek to resolve complaints through interacting with service providers rather than to painstakingly investigate each complaint and to produce a report many months later. This in turn presents challenges for how Ombudsman offices respond to trends in data and make sure that systemic issues are identified and dealt with. It isn't enough to resolve complaints. We must also make sure that we improve public services and avoid repeated errors. We must also consider how we can best upskill our staff to deal with evidence that's held on electronic systems and not on paper files. It's also important to remember that not everyone is engaged in the digital universe, perhaps because of age, although there are many silver surfers, or because of deprivation. So we still have to ensure that while engaging digitally, that we can also continue to make ourselves accessible to people who don't transact their business online. We must also look to instances where individuals are denied access to services because the public body will only interact online. Ombudsman offices have demonstrated our adaptability by making our services available online promptly once the pandemic forced many of us to close our offices. It seems inevitable that some of the changes we've had to adopt, more staff working from home for instance, or interacting with public bodies digitally, will continue. Areas like artificial intelligence will allow us to develop new approaches to streamline and improve the way we deal with complaints. I've no doubt, however, that in doing so, we will continue to be informed by our commitment to human rights, to the rule of law, and to excellent public administration. Thank you for your attention.